there were pictures on his phone of groups of young people in Moscow, and that Maddie, possibly Kaylee, were in some of those photos. Is there any truth to that?
No truth at all. There was not, no truth at all. There was not, to this date, we have never found a single connection, anything, between any of the 4 victims or the other 2 surviving roommates with him. No pictures, no texts, no. There was rumors, speculation that he was following some of them on different social media sites. There was sites that were sent to us of, hey, this is him, he's following. They were either untrue or they were sites that people made that were completely fake. And so we had to research and go into every single one of those just to prove or debunk what somebody had made up. And of course, then that spread to the media, and it went wild that he was following or there was a connection, and there wasn't. We wanted that, I think naturally we need that, what's the connection, what's the why, and we have found zero, never any connection.
I saw the amount of...
Welcome back to my Mental Health and Crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is for education purpose solely. This is the case of the Idaho 4. May the victims rest in peace. Condolence to the families. May the correct justice be served one day, which I doubt. You heard the lead detective in the case saying that there was absolute zero connections between Brian Christopher Kohlberger and all of the roommates. That includes the 4 victims, and that includes the surviving roommates. There was no connection. So if there's no connection, there's no motive. There's no motive, there's no target to start with. How did they come to this conclusion that it's Kohlberger who did it? They need to show us their homework. How did the FBI get into the IGG? Because they're not supposed to be using certain apps like MyHeritage. I'm sure they use one of them. What happens to the legal rights of Kohlberger? How can he defend himself if he doesn't know why he's been accused? There are many people who plead guilty, although they're innocent, for different reasons. We know that Kohlberger's family and him are under threats. He needed to get the DP off the table. We saw how focused Ann Taylor was about getting the DP off the table. Just in case he's innocent even, or if he's guilty, no one wants to get the DP. So I think the focus was more on that. But you're hearing it from the detective's own mouth that there's no connections between Kohlberger, zero connections between Kohlberger, the surviving roommates, the victims, the roommates, all of them. There's zero connections. So what was his motive? That's why I believe it was the fraternities, the Jacks, allegedly Davids, who did it. And the surviving roommates were involved because they did not call 911 for 8 hours. 9 hours if you go to the correct timeline, which is the previous timeline, between 3 to 4. And now that the documents are coming out, it makes me more confident to believe my theories, allegedly. It makes me more confident to know that what I was feeling, what my research was leading me to, is quite true. The reason being, I do not believe one suspect unalived 4 people, tortured them, trigger warning, carved Ethan's legs, like Datelin told us, and although the documents hasn't spoken yet about his legs being carved, it says there was a lot of blood around his leg area. So there was something going on there. By Kaylee being And she rests in peace, poor girl, being punched so badly, her face being unrecognizable, makes me believe, and the stabbings obviously over 30 times, makes me believe it was really personal. Something like crime or passion, revenge, jealousy. I still believe, what if it was a female, a strong young female, who did this to Kaylee? Not the stabbings, but the punchings. This sounded very personal. It was a lot of hate, revenge, jealousy, enviousness. I don't think Koberger has a bone in this fight. He had nothing to do with this. And if he had something to do with it, just say if he organized it and got people to do it. I don't believe he did the unalivings. For Zana to have been stabbed, poked 52 times. Most of it was self-defense, so say 30 times was self-defense, 20 times was out of rage, anger, jealousy, whatever personal emotions was running through the sick person's mind. All of those things need to be taken in consideration. This was somebody who had time. This was somebody who wasn't scared to be in the house. That's why I've always believed it was Showalter and the Sigma Chi fraternity boys, like Fochan said. They were raging upstairs. We saw the rage. Koberger left the, not Koberger, sorry, Showalter left the grub truck at. He was pissed off. He was mad that they ditched him. It was like, that was one of the last things he was expecting. And now we've heard so much about other people, other young men bothering Maddie and Kaylee at the grub truck. We know Schwarter's kicked out. We know another guy called CM was kicked out. And another third guy was having issues with the girls. Now it's starting to make sense for me when I used to hear that the girls called 911 from the corner club. It could be possible. If so many different guys with mental health illness, and other guys were bothering them, they were already a target of bad behavior that night. And Maddie was really intoxicated, may she rest in peace. So people could have been easily putting roofies in her drink. This is why I don't believe it's one person who did this.
Because documents that have not been public have now been made public. And Xana Kernodle found on the floor over 50 stab wounds, many of them, much of them defensive. Can you explain that? Put that into layman's terms, the wounds and the defensive aspect of them.
She fought back, and she fought hard. And that's unless Darren can expand on that, that's primarily the reason.
Yeah, that was. Xana absolutely fought. And we know that Xana was up. We know that Xana had just gotten her DoorDash shortly before this and was actively up. And
pay attention to how the detective tries to convince us. Oh, Xana was up. She was actively up. When somebody's up, they're up usually. Why did he need to say they were actively up? Xana was actively up. She was waiting for her DoorDash order. I don't think so. I personally have always said from the beginning up to today, Xana was already unalived. Somebody ordered the DoorDash on her name. Her phone was actively up. Her TikTok was actively up, but Xana, unfortunately, wasn't actively up. It sounds like something youngins like the fraternities and sororities would do. These people are watching Vampire Diaries. So you can imagine all the red liquid they were watching. All the disgusting things. I've watched Vampire Diaries myself a couple of years ago. Kind of kiddish, but when you think about it, there was a lot of violent images, violent things. It was just an evil show. So if these people are watching Vampire Diaries, and have you noticed Vampire Diaries is all about knives and what was it called? Daggers that they used to use? So all these things, I see like the character Catherine, the evil version from the 1640s. The olders, that's what they were called. But anyway, Vampire Diary. I wonder which episode you're watching, Bethany Funk. And you're having a two-take too. Now this is interesting. Xana was stabbed 50 times, over 50 times. There was actually red liquid on the walls. So didn't Hunter see that? He couldn't see the red liquid everywhere before he actually went to take the pulse of Xana and Ethan. Something is really wrong. So the officer said Xana was actively up. So for Xana to have been poked over 50 times, it was simultaneously. They both were unalived at the same time, according to Dateline. That's why I believe it wasn't one suspect. It was more than one. That's why they keep on saying 3 unidentified male DNAs are found on the crime scene. 3 unidentified male DNAs found under Maddie's nails. And Ann Taylor had 4 alternative suspects in her mind. So it's between 3 to 4. And we saw 4 figures running. Steve told us that Kaylee was gagged. Her mouth was gagged at least. But this is the lead detective. He says she wasn't gagged. So who's lying here? Who is being dishonest here?
Primary weapon. The same knife was used to kill all 4. As has been reported, and I think the family has spoke to this, Kaylee was struck in the face, and we don't know what caused the marks that were left by it. It wasn't fatal, and we just don't know what caused that. And we've never located, obviously, the knife that we know did kill all 4, and we don't know what was used to do that.
Now a fist can be a deadly weapon.
Right.
The injuries to the face, could that have simply been from a hand on her face?
No.
So you believe the injuries to her face came from something other than his fist?
Yes, I think the fist could have been part of it, but it certainly appears something else struck her to cause the marks that we saw that is not consistent with a fist.
What about marks near her mouth that came out? I believe they came out in public documents. Bound?
Yep.
Gagged?
Those are what I'm referencing, and no, it doesn't appear, there was no evidence that she was bound or gagged.
Or gagged?
Those are what I'm referencing, and no, it doesn't appear, there was no evidence that she was bound or gagged.
Are the marks from a knife?
No.
So the reality is the extent of what was done to her may be a mystery forever.
Yeah, it may be.
KAYLEES autopsies results showed that KAYLEE's face was badly damaged, injured. And the detective said that he doesn't believe it was done with a knife. He doesn't believe it would have been fatal, but it was damageful. And I was wondering if, to start with, I believe it was more than one suspect for two weapons to have been used. A suspect would have been thinking about going in and out quickly. They wouldn't be thinking of exchanging weapons. This is no John Wick movie. I don't know what weapon he has inside his jacket. Could that have been a BB gun? Is that what sounded like a firework noise at 1122 King Road? Bethany Funk and the neighbor heard it. They didn't say what time. Look at his eye. So he was fighting at the corner club, and there were other AS characters bothering young females that night. And he was the neighbor. What is he carrying? While I was reading the documentaries and reading KAYLEE's autopsy, something came across my mind. Just remember this weapon he has in his jacket, and he has a weapon, a K-bar, in his pocket, his black pant, jeans pocket. Let me show you something. Yeah, this is from some YouTuber. 411 Outdoors is his channel's name. This is under fair use purpose. I just wanted to show you all. He talks a bit about, I believe, different items and weapons. And he explains to you what it's used for. So he talks about, they're called brass, BRASS, brass knuckles. In the UK, they're called knuckle dusters. You can buy them in the form of plastic, strong plastic that causes damage to, but this one is the real thing, the one that he's holding. So if you wear this in the correct way and you hit someone, trigger warning, on the face or head or wherever, it can cause. It can really disfigure someone's face badly. It can really break bones. And it's really illegal. In the UK, they really put you in for knuckle dusters. And then I researched it and I found out that in the United States, it's illegal in 21 states. Should have been illegal in all the states, honestly. So I wonder if Idaho, Moscow, definitely they have brass knuckles, knuckle dusters. So I wonder if the person who, may she rest in peace, beat KAYLEE's face so badly and disfigured her face, I wonder if they used a knuckle duster. And usually it's youngins who use knuckle dusters, especially in the UK. Let me know what y'all think about this. But I've always thought about it from the first time Steve told us about KAYLEES' face. But now reading the reports, it just dawned into my mind yesterday, and I thought, don't tell me they used a knuckle duster. But it makes more sense. They wear it right above the knuckles. It has a place to go into each finger. So I think you'll get my point. A knuckle duster or brass knuckles can really cause serious, fatal damage. So I think that's what happened to KAYLEES. Let me know what you'll think. May she rest in peace.